The story here is that Jodie Foster is a young mum. This is a role that she likes doing. A young mum with a young daughter, or a middle-aged mum with a young daughter, who gets on an aeroplane. She's in a state of bereavement because her husband has recently died. Her husband's coffin is in the plane, and they're taking the coffin back to their home. She's very tired, very emotional. She falls asleep. She wakes up. Her daughter is gone. Worse still, when she says to the flight attendants, "My daughter is gone," they all say, "You didn't get on the plane with the daughter. There's no record of her on the tickets. Your daughter was never on this plane. You are delusional." Now, for a certain amount of time, you think, "Oh, this is very interesting. This is very tense. This is very edgy." I mean, yes, it's clearly taking its lead from Red Eye, which I think was a great film and a much more honest genre film. But, Jodie Foster's got a great face. She's got a real commanding presence. I mean, it's no wonder that she is one of the very few actresses who could open a movie simply on a poster which has her face on it. I mean, you think about things like Contact, you think about this, you think about Panic Room. She is a really, really commanding presence.
She is one of the few that you would go and you think, OK, well, all the rest of them might be rubbish, but I'll go and see it's got Jodie Foster.
It's not to do with all the rest of them might be rubbish. It's to do with whether or not they have marquee value. And that's the key. I mean, there are millions of brilliant actresses who cannot open movies because of the way the star system works. But there is a handful of actresses, Sandra Bullock is another one, Jodie Foster, Sigourney Weaver to some extent, I suppose, who can open a movie on the strength of their name. And it's Demi Moore is another example. It says something about the sexism of Hollywood that there is such a small number of them. Now, for half the movie, you think, great Jodie Foster performance, very good claustrophobic direction, really, really getting the most out of this. And then halfway through the movie, it faces the problem that these movies always do, which is it has to settle for one version or the other. Now, the plot is clearly inspired to some extent by The Lady Vanishes. The setup with Foster and her kid is clearly inspired to some extent by Panic Room. And the whole thing is very, very much derivative of Red Eye, which, because Red Eye was a straightforward genre thriller, it knew what it was. You want to define
what a genre thriller is?
Well, a genre thriller means... it used to mean something like a B movie. It knows it's a thriller. It knows it's an action movie. It knows it's it's an erotic thriller. It knows what it is. It has certain rules, and there's a kind of an agreement with the audience about things that it will do and things that it won't do. Roger Corman was the great genre producer. Flightplan has aspirations above that. It thinks that it's a really, really serious psychological work. And the problem is that halfway through, when they finally have to settle down on one side or the other, in Red Eye, it gets away with it because, hey, it's a Wes Craven thriller. I'm here to have an exciting, fun-packed ride, and that's great. No worries. When it does it in Flightplan, you go, hang on. No, that doesn't make sense. And there are holes in the plot through which you could fly a jumbo jet. So you end up being cross at the fact that they can't resolve the plot, partly because the first half of the film manages to take itself quite so seriously. So it is a classic example of
Is better than ho-hum?
Yeah, ho-hum bad. Is a game of two halves. Good. And is watch this space.
Movie